In the misty dawn of God's Grove, Raoul Endymion found himself wandering through the ancient stone corridors of Taliesin West. The morning light filtered through stained glass windows, casting rainbow shadows that danced across weathered floors. For 7 years he had waited, counting days until her prophesied return. The monastery's silence was broken only by the soft whisper of his footsteps and the occasional distant chime of meditation bells. As he traced his fingers along the cool stone walls, memories of his last moments with the young Aenea flooded back. Her smile, her impossible wisdom, and the promise of her return. The air grew thick with anticipation as he approached the architectural school's central courtyard, where students once learned the secrets of design and space. Something was different today. He could feel it in the way the light bent around corners, in the way the air seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy. The void which binds chose this moment to tear reality apart. A brilliant flash of blue-white light erupted in the courtyard center, sending ripples through the air like stones dropped in a still pond. Raoul's heart stopped as a familiar silhouette materialized within the quantum disturbance. Aenea had returned, no longer the child who left him, but a young woman of 19. Exactly as the prophecies foretold. Their eyes met across the space between worlds, and time seemed to freeze. But they weren't alone. Aebetic, the android who had accompanied them years ago, emerged from the shadows of the colonnade, his blue skin reflecting the fading quantum energies. The reunion was cut short by the distant sound of dropship engines. The Pax had somehow detected the quantum event. The chase would begin anew. As the sound of approaching dropships grew louder, Aenea quickly shared her vision of humanity's future. The architectural school would become more than a sanctuary. It would be the birthplace of a revolution. She spoke of the time tombs, the technocore's true nature, and the dark secret behind the church's cruciform resurrection. But most importantly, she revealed why she had chosen this specific moment to return. The Pax ships were now visible in the morning sky, their metal hulls gleaming like predatory birds. Aebetic led them to a hidden chamber beneath the monastery, where an impossible choice awaited. As they descended the ancient stairs, Aenea turned to Raoul with a smile that carried both love and sadness. "The real journey," she whispered, "begins now." The chamber door closed behind them, just as the first Pax troops landed in the courtyard above. The crisp mountain air bit at Raoul's face as he followed Aenea up the treacherous path. The ancient stone steps, worn by countless pilgrims before them, seemed to disappear into the mist above. Aebetic, their android companion, moved with inhuman grace despite the altitude, his blue skin almost luminescent in the early morning light. As they climbed higher, Aenea began sharing stories of the old mountain monasteries, her voice carrying an otherworldly wisdom that belied her young age. The trio encountered their first trial when an avalanche nearly swept them off the narrow ledge, forcing them to seek shelter in a mysterious cave. Inside, they discovered ancient markings that made Aenea's eyes widen with recognition, though she refused to translate them for Raoul, saying only that some truths must be earned, not given. Their descent into the secluded valley revealed a sight that took Raoul's breath away. A monastery, seemingly grown from the living rock itself, stood before them. The elderly keeper, Master Chen, welcomed them with knowing eyes, as if he had been expecting their arrival for years. Within the monastery's walls, Aenea began her first real teachings, showing Raoul glimpses of abilities that defied explanation. During meditation sessions in the ancient hall, objects would float inexplicably, and time itself seemed to flow differently. Aebetic documented everything with his perfect memory, while Raoul struggled to understand the profound changes happening to his young companion. The peace was shattered one evening when strange lights appeared in the sky, forcing them to prepare for an abrupt departure. Their final days in the mountains were marked by increasing urgency. Master Chen revealed ancient scrolls to Aenea, their contents causing her to grow more solemn with each reading. During their last night, Raoul found her crying silently in the monastery's bell tower, the weight of some unknown destiny heavy on her shoulders. Aebetic sensors detected approaching ships in the atmosphere, adding to their mounting tension. As they prepared to leave, Master Chen presented Aenea with a small wooden box, its contents hidden but clearly precious. Their departure was hastened by the sound of distant engines, but not before Aenea left her own message carved into the monastery's ancient stones, a prophecy that would remain hidden until the right seeker found it. They slipped away into the mountain paths, just as the first searchlights began sweeping the valley below. In the misty dawn of old Earth's restored landscapes, Raoul found himself immersed in a world that seemed to breathe with ancient wisdom. Under Aenea's patient guidance, the morning rituals of Tai Chi became more than mere exercise. They transformed into a meditation on existence itself. The gentle movements flowed like water through the courtyard of their temporary home, where cherry blossoms danced on morning breezes. As Raoul struggled with the precise forms, he couldn't help but notice how Aenea's movements seemed to bend reality itself, leaving subtle ripples in the air that only he could perceive. Their mornings were punctuated by Aebetic's quiet presence, the android's blue skin reflecting the golden sunrise as he prepared their simple breakfasts. But beneath the serenity, Raoul sensed something stirring, a growing awareness that these peaceful moments were merely the calm before an approaching storm. The afternoons brought different lessons altogether. In a sun-drenched studio overlooking the restored city of Paris, Aenea revealed the profound connections between architecture and the fabric of space-time. Her teachings went beyond mere design. Each line she drew seemed to resonate with universal truth. Raoul watched in amazement as three-dimensional models materialized from her sketches, defying conventional physics. Aebetic assisted with the technical aspects, his cybernetic knowledge complementing Aenea's intuitive understanding. But during one particularly intense session, Aenea suddenly froze, her eyes distant, as if seeing through the walls of time itself. When she returned to the present, her face carried a shadow of concern that she quickly masked with a smile. That evening, Raoul noticed increased activity among the few remaining Farcasters in the city, and an unusual number of ships crossing the twilight sky. As weeks melted into months, the true purpose of their stay on old Earth began to emerge. During their evening discussions in the garden, Aenea spoke of impending changes that would shake the foundations of human civilization. The knowledge she shared seemed to physically affect their surroundings. Plants would lean toward her as she spoke, and the air would grow thick with possibility. Aebetic's normally impassive face showed increasing signs of concern as their discussions grew more intense. One night, as twin moons cast their glow over the garden, Aenea revealed a truth so staggering that Raoul felt the ground shift beneath his feet. Before she could elaborate, however, their peaceful sanctuary was interrupted by the distant sound of packed ships breaking atmosphere. The time for learning was coming to an end. The time for action was beginning. The ancient ship's engines hummed to life, casting a soft blue glow throughout the worn cabin as Raoul and Aenea prepared for their desperate escape from old Earth. The pursuing pack's forces had nearly caught up to them, their warships visible as distant specks in the evening sky. As they lifted off, the ship's AI, an unexpectedly charming presence, guided them through a treacherous field of orbital debris, remnants of humanity's ancient wars. Aenea's hand trembled slightly as she interfaced with the ship's systems, her connection to the void that binds growing stronger in space. The pursuit ships launched their first volley of warning shots, illuminating the darkness around them with brilliant flashes of plasma fire. During their journey through deep space, Aenea began teaching Raoul about the true nature of space travel. The ship's living quarters became a classroom of sorts, where discussions of quantum physics merged with poetry and architecture. Their pursuers had not given up, forcing them to perform increasingly complex maneuvers through fold space. Each jump brought strange visions and revelations, as if the universe itself was trying to communicate. The ship's AI revealed its own surprising insights, sharing ancient memories of humanity's first ventures into space. But with each passing day, Aenea grew more distant, her consciousness seemingly split between their physical reality and something vast and incomprehensible beyond. The final leg of their space journey took an unexpected turn when their ship's AI detected a critical malfunction in the fold space drive. Pax forces had managed to predict their trajectory, setting up a complex trap ahead. As Raoul worked frantically to repair the drive, Aenea entered a deep meditative state, attempting to find an escape route through the void. The ship's corridors grew cold as they diverted power to essential systems, their breath visible in the dim emergency lighting. Just as the pursuing ships closed in, Aenea's eyes snapped open with a solution, but one that would require them to trust completely in the unpredictable nature of the void that binds. Their decision would change not only their fate, but potentially the course of human history.
Thank you for venturing into this realm with me. If you crave more enchanted worlds, mythical battles, and secrets whispered from ancient pages, join the Guild of Storybound Explorers. Subscribe now and ring the bell to unlock every new quest the moment it drops. The next chapter awaits. Will you answer the call?